Greetings, miners. Nonsanity here, and we're playing Sandustry. This is only a demo currently, but it is very playable, and it seems like it's going to be a good game eventually. The developer seems to be a really nice guy who's really paying attention to his community on Discord and has big plans for this game. All right, so we've got a 2D scroller here. You can see we've got water. I've got a little jetpack. And there is stone, which is unbreakable. There's some ice there. This is, you don't have to worry about this. You'll see what it is from the other side eventually, but it is a vent. Stuff can go in and out of it, but not you. Some unbreakable material there. Here we got some grass, and the brown is sand, though I may call it dirt sometimes. It looks like dirt. And what you do, and there's a tutorial that you can read up at the top of the screen, use the mouse to dig 05. We've got our digging tool here, and the yellow is where we're going to be digging when we click. And that makes all of this sand particles. There, we've made our 5 digs. Now it says press 2 to select the grabber. 2, and you can grab some sand. Now, this game uses cellular automata, if you've heard of that, to create a physics. And we can see we can pile up the sand here, and it sort of has a maximum slope that it wants to exist at. The grabber can grab a single pixel. And once you have a pixel in your selector, so I'm clicking and holding the mouse, and I can drag it around. When I let go, it drops it. Unless I'm somewhere where I can't drop it, I just let go of the mouse, and it's still in my hand. It won't come out until I have room for it to leave my cursor. Once you've selected something, that's the only material you can pick up. There, I've got a whole handful. If you've got some and you want to pick up more, the pixels have to enter empty space inside this yellow box. So if I fill up the bottom half of my box, like so, and I try and get this pixel here at the top of the pile, I'm not picking it up because it's being behind the pixels I already have in my hand. It would have to go all the way down to where there's empty space in my box here, and then it picks it up. So often when you have, a spread out pile and you want to pick it all up, you have to go sort of up and down, go around in circles, and it'll fill in all the holes. You can see I've got some holes in. I could pick this up if it fits perfectly into the holes, like that. I could pick this one if it fits perfectly. There we go. I can get one more. But as far as playing the game, you take the dry sand and you drop it in the water, and it turns into wet sand. So I could bring this up here and drop the wet sand on top of the dry sand, and you can see that the two can mix together. They're the same density, despite one being waterlogged for some reason. So you can see it all mixes together. But it's easy to separate them out with your tool in small quantities because you can see with the cursor, it lets me know the tip of the cursor is over sand. So now I click, I'm picking up sand. I can sort of go around in circles here, and I separated the two piles. Now it's saying up here, pick up the wet sand and shake it. Move mouse back and forth outside of water. So here we grab a handful of the wet sand and we shake it back and forth, and that gray stuff falls out, and you get yellow, which is gold. Now gold has a higher density, so it will always go to the bottom. Currently in this demo, it is the densest thing, so it always goes to the bottom of any pile, like that. but it wants us to put it in this box. These green things are not solid, the yellow are. The green things, just wherever they are, if gold particles are in there, then that counts towards your money. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to shake all this wet sand I've got. Oh, and this gray stuff, this is slag, and it is a lighter material, so it'll always be on top. So I try and put sand on top, it falls through. So the two sands are the same density, but this is lighter, and the gold is heavier, denser. Just sort of gather up all my slag into one spot. Get some more wet sand. Notice when you go underground, the lighting changes to cave mode. Now, if you drop the wet sand in the water, it doesn't make any difference to it. It's already... Oh yeah, and the gray stuff, it floats on water. I just accidentally shook some of the wet sand here. Looks like I made one little speck of gold. So I can grab that. Now, thankfully, you don't have to do this for the whole game. This is just during the tutorial. As soon as you can get to 70 gold, I think you can make it so that this no longer happens, which is good, because if I move too quickly with a handful of wet sand, it turns into slag and gold and often makes a mess. Okay, open tech tree with T. Now, it only wanted us to get to 20, because that's the first tech you can get. Click this, cost 20, research. Some of the gold in our cell box goes away. Let's see, we're down to 63. And we get shakers. But I also want to get logistics, which is 50. And it may... Yeah, I think once you do that, now... Oh, no, that still works. I'm not sure when that gets turned off. Maybe it's with guns. But we don't want to do this anymore. Let's make a better system. Now, I have played this. And I've learned a few little tricks and techniques. Let's bring up all of our stuff here. I want to put blocks on 8. Yeah, that's good enough for now. So we just opened up a whole bunch of new blocks. We've got this solid block, which is going to be our main construction block when we want to just separate things. We've got the collectors, so we can make more of these. We've got shakers. Shakers are interesting, is that they want to be diagonal. And the way you use them is... Oh, I think as soon as you make a shaker, this stops. Yeah. Okay, that's what does it. As soon as you place your first shaker, now you can't shake because you have the shakers to do it for you. You drop some sand on the shakers, and look at that. Gold falls out. And the dirt is turning to ash. Oh, and that was the end of the tutorial. And slowly, these shakers will push the slag to the side. You can see every few seconds they push 1 pixel's worth to the side. If you keep putting more and more wet sand onto it, again, because the sand is heavier or denser than the slag, it will go to the bottom, touch the top of the shaker, and go through its conversion. And the slag will start sliding down the steps. You notice that it's moved farther than it would just from these conveyor movements because it sort of rolls off. Like if I just dump a whole bunch of slag here, you can see it wants to go to a 45-degree angle, and that's it. Anything else slides off. So if you put more dirt on here, it goes to the bottom. It doesn't slide off. But as it turns to slag, that all slides off. But if you put the dirt on too fast, it will fall off the end. It will start rolling off itself. So you can make this longer, or, and that was holding down X and dragging a box lets you delete things. Because I'm going to make my own boxes. So let's see here. I'm going to, over here, start laying out some structures. So that's going to be up there. And I'm going to have, let's go ahead and leave 2. And here I've done some measuring. If I come up here, you see the mountains in the background. If I stick my feet right on top of that mountain, then up here, I'm going to click 4, and I'm going to draw 5 of these. Doesn't matter. Oops. X delete. Alright, that is going to be my main conveyor system. And this will be, and I want it to be a little bit higher, just so I got extra room. And for the moment, we'll place a floor here. Now, we haven't been over to this side. Here you can see there's another vent. These yellow walls you can do horizontal or vertical. You can also do diagonal, in which case you can build nice diagonal walls by having 2 sets. I'm going to do that now because stuff will come out of this going up, and I want to catch it. Is that? No. We'll do it here. Yeah, that'll be good. And then, oh yeah, this little cave. It's a little Easter egg here. It says Lottie's Cave. Hi, Lottie. I have a feeling that might be someone's friend. I think over on this side of the world is where I'm going to, and I'm going to block that off. And I'm going to block that off. This is where I'm going to put all my gold. So I'm going to grab the gold collector here. I guess I wouldn't get points for the gold if it was in those spaces. So let's square off that corner. There we go. Back to the collector. That's as high as I can go. So I want to count up 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Hopefully I got that right. So let's cut all that off. And if I hit space, I'll fall. Unfortunately, we fly very slowly right now, but that will improve with time. We can upgrade our jetpack. As you can see, I'm being very ambitious from the start. But I'm just going to put all my gold over here and not have to think about it for a while. I'm going to do that with this thing. This is a launcher. It can be vertical or it can be diagonal. You can go down, but really it transports up. And if you can see, this one has an angled and it's pushing out this direction, and this one is angled pushing out this direction. So they're pointing towards each other at the top. A diagonal one is just a whole bunch of those top pieces. And you can break them up, shorten them. And I'm going to draw one of these up here. And the other thing we have is conveyor belts, which you can see the green arrow tells you the direction of travel on the belt. If I hold down Shift, it reverses. Otherwise, it goes in the direction that you dragged it. So these are all going in the same direction. This one is going the opposite direction unless I press Shift. So now they're all going in the same direction. It's sort of hard to tell, but you can see in the animation, if you look really closely, which way they're going. And because this thing is going to be bringing materials up and throwing them out, there's a chance some might fall on top of this block, in which case they'll just sit there. So I'm going to, I can delete it and replace it with a piece of conveyor belt, but you can also hold down Control after hold down my mouse so it wants to draw the conveyor belt. Make sure the arrow is going in the right direction. And you see there's a red square sort of behind the arrow. If I hold down Control, it turns green. That means it can replace the block beneath it. I let go of the mouse, and we have a piece of conveyor belt there. And I'm going to seal this off. Whoop. My cursor went off the screen. And I'm going to start filling in this lift column. We're building big right from the beginning. Oh, I think I did something wrong. Yeah, I'm inside the vent. That's okay. No, it's not. No, it's supposed to be over here. So I need to delete these. Delete that. That's right. I wanted to let's change all this back to the way it was. Likewise with these triangles, it's hard to see because the sun is setting, but if you can see them changing there, it's the lower half, upper half, lower half, upper half. I'm holding down Shift. The same thing you do to change the direction of a conveyor belt. You can change which side. Otherwise, it chooses, like I'm dragging down, so it's the lower half. Drag up, and it's the upper half. But you can hold down Shift and change that. So yeah, this is where I want my lift to be. So, and whenever you make a new lift, the top piece is always that thrower. You don't want these in the middle. If I just, if I were to continue the lift here, you see it's still got that triangular piece. I got to delete that and replace it. So now I got to delete this one. But you can see I've already built all this right next to it. What we can do is hold down Shift and we get this blue cursor. And I can select all of this. And now I can let go of the Shift, let go of the mouse, hold the mouse down and move it over. And it will move everything over. If there's already something where any of those pieces of blocks are, it won't overwrite them unless you hold down Control. All right. So there's that. I'll fall again because it's a little faster. When you hit space and you go out of hover mode, you can walk on all the surfaces here. If you're pushing up the W and you hit space and let go of everything. Now I'm in hover and I can pass through all the surfaces. Most of the time I stay in hover, though it helps to drop quickly. So I'm going to do a little construction over here. Don't worry too much about this. Actually, nope. I want it. Yeah, probably there. Let's delete these. And I can put them back with collectors. There we go. We'll mess with this later. Let's see, we'll do it. I'll do it here. And I'll do a thrower. And another conveyor belt like that. So what I just did, any material, and we'll go ahead and test it now. If I drop some gold on here, you can see it moves. Now, the conveyor belts are actually quite powerful because they can move a stack of material as tall as the screen, and it'll all move along the conveyor belt. But if there's anything in the way, see how it stops it? If there's no gaps in that bottom row, then it'll stop everything. So you see, it's just a single. I take a break out, and thunk, it stops. Doesn't matter how big this pile is. A single pixel is enough to stop the whole thing. Now you can see one of these launchers in action. See, it throws. It lifts any pixels that come into it. It does so once a second or so. You can see it's going in pulses. If I were to take some material and drop it into there, you see it fell. Let's catch it and drop it again from a little higher. Whoop. It threw it that time. Yeah, that didn't quite all the way make it all the way down. It'll just sort of fall until one of the pulses happen, and then it'll get thrown up. And you can see some of my gold has landed in the bin. Went all the way up, got thrown, and fell down over here. And it's added to my total. And now that stuff is going to go up, and it will add to my total as soon as it enters the box. There it goes. And there's some graphical glitches with the box right now. Just sort of ignore it. And I can now sort of extend this. Let's do it over here too. All right, so anything that comes out of here, right now it's going to get stopped by the conveyor belt. We'll fix that later. I just wanted to make sure that I can get the gold over here and up into the bin, but not impede any flow of gas coming up here. Though the conveyor belt is a problem to be fixed later. So I'm going to extend this all the way over there. So now we've got a way to collect up our gold. If I drop that there, it'll eventually end up in our bin. Slowly, but eventually. So I'm doing a lot of things. If you watch anybody else's videos on this stuff, this is not how they start. I am definitely starting with the end game in mind. But I do have some tricks I haven't seen other people use the same way. So let's get to the first one right now. And that is how I like to use my shakers. Like I said, they want to be a diagonal. But you can place just one. And if you do, you see it's got this little triangular tip on this side. That means any material that's placed on it will get shifted towards the arrow. And unfortunately, when you place just one, it defaults going that way, and the tool to change direction doesn't work. So the only way to get it to go the other way is to draw two of them, like that. Let's get rid of that one. And then delete these. So now all of these, whoops, all these should be moving in the opposite direction. Yep, there they go. So that is what I want to do at the bottom of this bin. So I'm actually going to remove the floor I've put in, and instead I'm going to drag this down here. Now another thing with the selection, once you've made a selection, you hold down C, and you see a little icon up here, and then you click and hold, and you can drag a copy of it. You should, at least in the demo here, when you hit C, wait a moment before you click and hold and drag. I think the game needs a moment to understand that you're copying. If you click too soon, it'll just abort the whole process. Now you look over here, there's floor in the way, and it's turned red. But if I hold down Control, oh, that's interesting. Oh, I forgot to hold down C. Hold on. Get back to having floor. I wonder if I can overwrite with these. Let's try it here. Select all that. Copy. Drag it. Hold down Control. No, okay. So that doesn't work with these things. Good to know. All right, I think the rest of that I can leave as solid floor for now. And actually, let's see. Let's do it till there. I can overwrite them with blocks at least. So that is going to be a multi-purpose chamber. Cover this all up. This is where we're going to do all of our sifting. And it's also going to be storage for our slag. If I put slag in here, it's just all going to move over to the side because that's the direction I set it to go. But if I put some wet sand in there, it falls through. Now there's also some... How did I get dry sand too? That's interesting. Notice it turned into gold. And then slag. So this is going to be a box to store our slag and the dirt, which is going to always fall through the slag down to the shakers and get turned into gold and more slag. So we can sort of do it all in one big box. So the box to hold our slag is also where we dump wet sand to turn it into slag and gold. So for that we need to wet the sand. So let's prepare this area. Now I'm going to make some conveyor belts underwater. And you notice they didn't show up. Instead we have these green boxes. This is the only way you can pick up water at this point in the game. So I'm coming down here where I've tried to build the boxes. And I'm sort of digging the water out. As soon as you've placed something like this and you get these green squares, it's solid. It's like there's a temporary force field in that spot waiting for the obstructing material to be removed. And then it goes ahead and makes the item you tried to put there. But the conveyor belts currently can't overlap stone. So you see that? There's nothing in there for me to grab, and I can't grab water normally. But it won't turn into a conveyor belt because that spot has a little bit of stone in it. So instead, I'm going to get my block and make some slopes like that. And again, I can dig them out. There we go. And I want to just fill in the rest of this space here with normal blocks. And again, we can grab the water. Oh, this one I have to delete. Then I can place a block. I missed this spot. Now, looks like water can flow between these green blocks. The water outside can't flow in. And that's true for any of the particles. If this was all sand, big pile of sand here, it would behave pretty much the same way. All right, these three are completely in the stone, so they'll never form. So I'll just delete them. And I want to bring this up to here. I'm just going to fill it all in. That one is no good. Now we've got nice, clean edges to this pit, which will make everything much easier later on. And sort of like the conveyor belts, the sloped blocks, they also can't contact gray. That is going to change. But for now, I'm going to have to do the same thing. I'm going to block off that cave. So we're going to have a nice pit here to do our washing in with clean edges. Nothing's going to get caught up. There we go. Oh. Turn that one into a slope. There. So any particles that land on the slope will slide off of it and not get stuck. That's good. And I'm going to extend, I clicked the wrong button, extend this up here. And we're going to have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. There. Have all this laid out so I know what I'm doing. Go up to about there. And I have some conveyor belts. Oops. I want every other row. There we go. And some lifters. I'll have each one come out at a different level. Like so. And actually, this last one will work better if it has a little bit of headroom. And I'll give it a slope. Then again, none of the others do it anyway, so we'll keep it simple. All right, and then I will eventually have a divider there, but it's good enough. All right. Let's do a little bit more mining. Now, the nice thing about these lifts and the conveyor belts is you can make them go way down into the unknown. You see they're starting to lift up some of the surface dirt. Any dirt that gets in them will start being lifted. So all this is, I don't have to do anything, it's just automatically being sent up. And it should start, yep, there it goes. It's gotten up to the top, it's being put in these conveyor belts, and it's being dropped into the water. So now we need to do the next phase, and that is get it out of the water. And I'm going to make some preliminary lifts here. Is this where I want them? No. Yeah, I want all the conveyor belts going in one direction, so I'm going to replace them all. And I'm going to start the lifts on this side. And again, I want 5. And since I don't want, this isn't going to be where the top is, I need to cut off all these angled pieces. They're all going to come up here, and I'm going to hold down Shift and reverse these because I want them going towards where I started the line. I'm going to do the same sort of connection here. Each one of these to a different row. And then I can complete the connections. And why I'm doing 5 instead of 1, that will be for later. Because I could just keep this bottom one and have them all throwing out onto this one and have big piles of sand moving along here. That's fine. I'll be doing that a lot down in the mines. But up here I need a finer sort of control. I don't have all the pieces I need to make use of that control, but I want to make sure I've laid out enough room for it. So that's why it's there. And even though this is a solid, the conveyor belt is solid, I'm going to do that and do that. There, I want to also cover it up there. So this is going to be our main moving stuff through the baseline. Take it over to here. This is where stuff will come up from the mine. It'll get dropped into the water. I can see it got some ash down in here. Drop that in the ash box. Sand will come down into the water as it is now. And it will get sent up. Now it helps if the 2 farthest ones are on the touching of the floor, and then each of these others is 1 step higher. That lets you get a nice, the angle of the slope throws the whole thing, and all lanes are in use. Let me get rid of that one's bugging me. So let's get up here. Yeah, because, so I was leaving a little bit of headroom. If I left some headroom here, there wouldn't be this backflow. So if I deleted those, see it flows better, but it makes this taller pile. And when it hits this wall, it's going to like push it backwards, which is fine, but I really need to limit it. And I really don't want it to be solid like this. I want to have some air gaps, again, for later on. I don't want it solid. And I'll be doing things to make it so that it's not solid, even if it does. But, this sort of back throw is fine. But we need a way to get it into the box, and I'm going to do that just by going, whoops, X, delete those. And now it's in the box. Again, we'll do something more elegant here. And now it's making gold. And let's go ahead and lock that off so no gold accidentally falls backwards. Now, it's only converting the bottom layer of the dirt. You see little poofs along the bottom, and it drops 1 pixel. So all the dirt up here, if it was spread out, it would run faster. So that'd be good. So what I'm going to do here is build a little bit of a construction. I am going to do it all with lifts. And I'm going to build a lift like that, one that's one shorter, all of them pointed in the same direction. And then I'm going to make just the tops out like this. I'm clicking on the left side of the green square. So now when the sand comes in, if it hits these just as they're pulsing, it will throw them out this way, and they'll sort of hop along these. It may fall all the way through before they pulse, because these are fairly short, and it's going to be more likely to fall through. But that way I wanted to catch and let some of it through, maybe even most of it, but catch some of it, and throw it off to spread it out elsewhere. So let me grab some. Nope, too late. All right, and then there's one other thing I want to do, and that is add some more of these, but going up. Oop. Actually, is it... I want to do posts? No, I don't want to do posts. I want to do it all with tops. Don't I? I do. So I'm going to, whoops, copy these. So the purpose of these will be to handle big piles. And I'm going to make a copy of, well, I'll just drag this one over here. It only interacts with the top of a pile, and it sort of tosses it up. So wherever the top, by having a whole stack of these top pieces of the launchers, it's just going to be making the top of the pile move a little faster. It won't be lifting everything. It'll just be throwing the top. So by having a few of these, let's have one on the edge. One there. Oh, I must have moved it up one. Yeah. Just place another one down there. Okay, like that. And actually, I want to have a bunch more of different heights. All right, so start with about that tall. Oh, wrong tool. About that tall. And just do 2 at each successive height. And then I want 2 more that aren't touching the ground like that. All right, sort of like a crane at a dockyard and stacks of shipping containers. But you can see it leaves these little piles in between, but then it'll toss the tops of the piles off. And the tops of the piles will usually be slag. So this is just to get the slag over here, to let the dirt sit down more. And if it spreads the dirt out a bit more too, good. Because if some dirt gets thrown over here, it'll go to the bottom and then get converted. So that is going to help us. All right, so let's do a bit more digging. Now, we can help it a little bit with a little bit of manual grabbing of materials. Is that dirt? That was dirt. That was slag. And toss them in, or we can use the slopes of our holes to help funnel materials into our launcher to get sent into processing. So if I do a sloped pit here, I won't get all of it, but I can sort of sweep a little bit here. Do some more over here. Dig down. So you can see how it's all sort of working on its own. Use the environment to the best of your advantage. Oh, we've hit the stone. We've hit the bottom of this area. All right, so one of the other things, you can tell we can't go too far. Oh, there's a pixel here stopping me somewhere. Okay, I got it. Can't go too far over here, it looks like, because we see our water pit, which has got a nice flow of sand getting turned into wet sand. Sort of sweep all this out of this side, and I'm just going to lock it off because now nothing is going to go over there. There we go. So now we're going to dig this way, and I can see that here there's some stone, but in this row there isn't. So if I delete these and start a conveyor belt holding down shift so it comes back towards me, I just drag a really long one out there into the void. And now as I dig, everything will fall onto that green force field. It won't start moving because it's not a conveyor belt yet. It's just the force field of a conveyor belt. Oh, we got some water. That means some of this sand will be turning into wet sand right here. The conversion of dry sand to wet sand does use up some water. If you notice, the water level has gone down. But you drop wet sand in there and it doesn't use any water. So this water will get used here and it'll save us from having some water before. See now, as I'm digging underneath the conveyor belt, when you dig the ground, the amount of sand you get takes up less volume, which is contrary to reality, but that's fine. But that gives you some room, and the sand falls, and it falls out of the force field, which lets the conveyor belt appear. So I still need to get the sand that's underneath, but all this sand that's on top automatically gets sent back for me, which is very nice. So if you place your conveyor belts properly as you're mining, it will save you a lot of work. And remember, even though the conveyor belt hasn't formed, no sand can fall through it. So it's all going to sit on top of it. Only the sand that's being created inside of the force field is dropping down. And I mean, I can either scoop all this up manually, which isn't too hard to do. Or I can temporarily make breaks in, use X, in the conveyor belt and make some diagonal launchers to sort of throw the material up there. It's sort of messy, but it gets some of it. But then, I feel like I got to clean all this stuff up. Sometimes it's faster just to do it yourself. Unless it's a large volume. But if it's a large volume, you can probably build a conveyor belt there anyway. So let's go see how the box up here is working. Oh, look, that's good. The crane is doing the job by moving the dirt farther out. Maybe it's working a little too well. Most of the dirt is not coming down. Let's take that and move it up one. And again. Oh, I guess it's just because this column. All right, here. So let's take all of these and move them over one. I can move this back down again. And I'll just recreate the missing parts by hand. Oop. There we go. So I do want some dirt in this corner. So the stuff that falls all the way through. Some of it's getting caught and thrown up. You can see it reversing course there in the middle. But a lot of it is coming down here. And that's fine. I don't mind it piling up down here a bit. Some of it's getting thrown by the top of pile launchers here. And when it hits and falls down, that makes a new pile. Some of it that's getting caught is dropping over here and getting converted. That's keeping up nicely. And look at all this gold. Lots and lots of gold. We're already over 800. So we can go ahead and buy guns, which is good. I like the guns. In fact, I'm going to take the gun and place it over my shovel. And I guess I can't remove it from there, but I'll override it later. So that is going to be my main digging tool now. So we'll go back down into the mine, and it takes a few extra hits. That sand going. And I can actually get rid of all of this, so it's under the conveyor belt. It takes a few extra hits for the gun to break stuff, but I don't have to move and maneuver, so it is faster to just stand in one place and blast all this. It just takes less effort. Oh, we've hit the back of this cave. My conveyor belt was way too long. We can shorten it. Looks like there's a little gap there. Just fill that in with some blocks so nothing can fall behind the conveyor belt. Sometimes there's single pixels that get left behind. See, like that one right there in front of me? And it'll stop me from moving. If you're shooting and you're trying to, and you keep missing it, well, I hit it. If you put your cursor right over it and shoot, you're pretty much guaranteed to hit it. Let's get some, whoops. Let's get some of this onto the conveyor belt. Circles to pick it all up. We've got another cavern. Oh, that's got some water. This stuff, the green breaks but doesn't drop anything. So it's just for decoration. And this stuff, we won't be able to break until we have a rocket launcher later on. And I'm going to make a floor across here so we can break all this, holding the water back. Yeah, these one of the pixels. Boom. And now the water won't spill to a lower level. So let's connect it up here. So looks like we've got some walls like that. So we can bring a launcher set like this. And there my barricade is keeping the water from getting away. Not that it matters. Even later when you can pick up water, You can only do so when you're above ground. I will never be able to pick it up down here. So, in fact, might as well let it fall down because I can't do anything about it here. There it goes. A little bit is caught over here. That's fine. Actually, I'm going to get rid of that. And since it looks like we're going to go down this way, I'm going to prepare with another conveyor belt. And, oops. Bring a wall up like that. I like to put walls on the sides of these lifts because stuff can fall out, especially when it's at the top. And if it's struggling to, if it tries to throw it and it misses and it falls back, it can easily fall out. And I don't want to do that. Purple stuff. Purple stuff is very important. Shoot the purple stuff a lot. This is fluxite. And you can see we've got a fluxite counter underneath our money counter now. You want to get a lot of this stuff because then you can use it. So we have our research tab here. This uses our money. And the upgrades uses the fluxite. And I want to get rapid fire for my gun, but I need 500 for that. I'm only at 300. So, oh, look at this. There's an arrow here. There's an arrow down here. Let's check out the arrow, and then I'll call this episode complete. And I hope to hear from people if they want to see more of this game. Alright, so we've got some sort of artifact location here. Let's fly around the maze. Flying. Whoa! I can't fly. Oh, here I can fly. Follow the arrows. So it looks like inside this checkerboarded area, your hover doesn't work. So how can we cross the water? Well, up here, we saw that outside, you can see it up. I mentioned there's a patch of ice upstairs we couldn't break. This blue is also ice. Sorry, I didn't mention as we went past. In case you were wondering, hey, what's that stuff? That's ice. And it's the bluer ice, which I cannot break with my digging tool or my gun. But this is like a greener ice. This one does break, and it turns into snow particles when you do it. And those snow particles will turn the water into the blue ice, which I can walk on, but can't break. That gets us across. Break some more dirt doors. Sand. Look at this. There's a 1 and a floaty doohickey, which is called a Zorvix 22 artifact acquired. The game has 2 artifacts, and technically, if you find them both, the game is over. At least the demo is over. But you don't have to end it there, and I don't think collecting artifacts is the point of the game anyway. The point of the game is to have fun building contraptions to process materials and collecting it. And that's what we're going to do in the next episode, because we're going to stop it here. Let's head back up and check on how everything is doing. The water level's getting low. Look at that. All the dirt has been converted into gold and slag. I think we can do one more thing, because we're at 1,500. We can get this one. Tools. It's only 250. We could have gotten it a long time ago. And we can get filters, which is 100. And, hey, why not? Refining. Let's get them all. Research, research, research. All right, the next one's 750, 500, and thousands. We only have 200. But this gives us a flamethrower, a kinetic slag press, and filters. We will do one thing right now, and that is switch to our flamethrower, which I want on 9. 7. 7 should be filters for me. So we switch to the flamethrower. See it in action. Whoop. There we go. I accidentally clicked on the edge of this window and moved it. Flamethrower. What's it good for? Well, it'll turn water to steam. It'll melt the blue ice that we couldn't get through before. But the big one right now is this slag. We're getting a lot of it. But if we burn it, and the fire spreads like a tire fire, and I can just put down a lot of flames here to get it going really fast. Just being an arson. There it goes. Look how much less space that takes. So we'll be able to save a lot of space by burning our slag. And it's all starting to... The top of pile movers are all shifting it down to the other end of the box, like they're supposed to. All right. But now that we've burned it, we can do other things with it, but that will have to wait till next time. So this is Nonsanity signing out. Take care, be good, and see you next time.